Let's have some really deep and meaningful discussions. Uh,
Sweet. I'm down.
I think the biggest thing
What topics?
right now on my mind is like fucking Instagram stuff. I mean, like just how current like metas I've been seeing have just been made things like insanely just. I mean, the way it works encourages laziness, and that's just interesting to me.
Yeah. Wow. I've never used Instagram. I don't think. Um. I try to keep my social medias to as few as possible, but there very much is like a trend you'll see just about everywhere on any kind of online community where sort of singular format will become really popular for a short time,
The
and
one
then
I
it's just like all that's allowed to exist for a while.
the one I've been seeing that is the laziest is one that accounts where they just like it's on Reels, so it's a video format, but just a picture of a meme that's been posted around a billion times with the background being a pre-recorded reaction.
That sounds remarkably boring.
And it's the same reaction for every one of those memes.
Oh, that is.
It's literally exists only to content farm.
Ooh. Yeah, that sounds.
I'm not sure about other social medias, but the way Instagram Reels works is very interesting in that it's super algorithm based, where like you could easily get into a rabbit hole. Currently, my Instagram, the entire thing is just horny. It's just like a bunch of those like thirst trap stuff. But I've been hearing like people like some YouTubers and stuff like have just completely different ones where it's all just really dumb memes. So it like tries to like pin you in on a niche.
Oh, absolutely. I had that problem with any topic that's like a little bit popular. Um, you watch like one video about it on YouTube, and it's just your whole feed forever. Um, which is a shame if you're a fan of anything that has ever gone viral at any point in your life. Um,
I think the
because you'll
worst,
just see mountains of discussion of that specific topic and nothing else.
yeah, the worst I think would be like drama and commentary channels. Because if something goes wrong with them, if they do anything, other commentary channels talk about it, and it's literally just like a whole big content feedback loop, and it's weird.
Oh yeah. Um, that's kind of my big issues is I just frankly I stopped watching that sort of commentary stuff just because it quickly just became like a thing of like, look at this person you're supposed to hate for the next 2 hours, and I realized like, wow, this is just making me more cynical and like less happy about my life. I should at least watch things I'm genuinely interested in. Like, I'd
All it
rather watch a 45-minute video on like the history of frozen pizza than like whatever the hell random internet celebrity is doing this week.
it's also interesting because like people only call it out when they're just actually pieces of crap. But all like I don't think Critical has ever done anything super wrong, but it's like morally speaking, but it's literally just the laziest content imaginable, no matter what.
Yeah, like I,
A 45-minute unscripted rant about something you know very little about.
yeah, it's while I don't want to say something that's like insulting. I kind of just don't like the sort of chewed up and like baby birded opinion that a lot of this stuff sort of leads. Um, You know what I'm on about though. Like it's just like getting people to effectively interpret current events for you.
Yeah. Or that whole meme where it's like, did a YouTuber give you this opinion?
Yeah, and like I think generally it's okay to like get some amount of your opinion from like people whose views you trust, but you also have to expand upon it yourself. You can't just like take it word for word, never consider it further than that, and just like go with it. Otherwise, you're kind of just intentionally lowering your own ability to discuss something that you're seemingly passionate about.
Yeah.
One thing that's good to lift from YouTubers, because a lot of them are effectively professional writers, is metaphors, or like, very like short comparisons, because I feel like that's something where you can easily elaborate upon it yourself, and you're kind of forced to if they never explain it themselves.
Yeah. I think the biggest conversations happening right now is like AI.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big one. Like every industry is trying to use it. I mean, it's the same as when like really any form of computing became like relatively affordable. We're seeing corporations attempting to use it to fill in as many job roles as possible so they don't have to actually pay people for it, regardless of the actual cost. Um,
But the interesting thing about that is literally AI itself is marketable to the point where there was a company in India that hired actual employees but marketed themselves as AI.
yeah, like that. I remember hearing about that actually, like um, the literal human bot farm. Um, it's a really uncomfortable situation because like it really is from the corporate perspective, it's easy to understand why they're doing this, because effectively the whole idea is like, yeah, we can just iterate on our like AI concept and eventually it'll become just as good as a human worker, or will become a big enough monopoly in our particular market that no one will have a choice, and whether to like go to a different outlet or not. So effectively they're like nipping workers' rights clean in the bud, because that way they can eventually just make a better worker out of the fucking GPU they found in the garbage.
It's
And like
like
I'm not advocating for this at all. I do think it's absolutely reprehensible, to be clear.
it's also the
I'm sort of
laziness,
explaining what
or
I believe the motive to be.
it's also the
Yeah.
laziness of like the thing it's used for the most is customer service, which is a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The only benefit it has is it's conversational, but you don't. It's like that's you can't have a conversational thing when you need actual like advice.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like especially if it's something that's like not in their standard like operating manual. Um, because a lot of that stuff doesn't actually get updated for years, in terms of documentation. So it'll be like, oh, how do I use this device with thing that came out 6 months after the device did, but all the documentation and customer info that you could get for it, like all the what's the word, like user manuals were written before the thing was even released. So if you're having a problem connecting, like, I don't know, a Wi-Fi card to a certain kind of computer, you're just kind of messed unless you like Google the answer and someone else has already tried it.
And that is the majority of the training data.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to code that works, that isn't just a garbled mess, is the equivalent of just looking on GitHub and copy pasting something that a human wrote.
Pretty much. It really does sort of feel like the end of history in a weird way.
You literally can't. There's a guy on a server. You can't explain to him how much of a bad idea it is that let something code your game like an AI. Because code is like a
Yeah.
fucking. If one thing doesn't work in your code, but you don't know any of what the code means, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah, like isn't that sort of a cargo cult situation?
What's that?
Let me look up the definition real quick because I've heard it in places, but I'm this is what you do. Um, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so effectively the cargo cult generally is considered a, and forgive me for this, I'm very bad at interpretation. Um, uh, in this context, it is attempting to replicate the process of something without actually knowing the more intricate steps in the hopes that you can replicate the result. Um, so like someone seeing someone smacking two bits of flint together to make sparks to make fire, and just seeing someone banging two rocks together, and all of a sudden fire is there. And then they spend the next 2 years banging rocks together, and it doesn't bloody work. Um,
The funniest thing I heard about when it comes to AI is just it really just shows any amount of laziness people can do. They take it to the absolute extreme. One of the most popular videos on TikTok is an AI video of a mukbang.
that's so dumb.
So lazy you can't eat food on camera.
I remember, I was talking about um, I was talking about in a server that I'm in, the difficulties of trying to find something creative to say about like a certain movie I want to review. And someone's like, "Oh, you can just get Chat GPT to write it," and I'm like, "Okay, but like the whole point of this is it's my thoughts on something. I'm not going to delegate my thinking process. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not a thing I'm comfortable doing." I'll admit I worded it in a much meaner way, where I said, "No, sorry, mate, I have principles." Uh, but um,
That guy is going through school and definitely getting away with using ChatGPT.
yeah, like that person is absolutely like a teenager, um, or like an early college student that has just like given up on actually trying for themselves. Um,
I think there is uses for AI, however unethical, I guess, because no matter what, it's always stolen data.
yeah,
The thing I think
that's
is the biggest thing that's like absolutely immoral is just how much like power it takes to do, where it just burns down fucking forests.
yeah.
If they could fix that, I still think there's some like content you can make with AI that's not super bad. Like I've seen it with like
Yeah,
with Doug or something where it's like they use it as like a tool for entertainment.
yeah. I think the that's kind of the big thing. That's like we're having a bit of a weird revolution in terms of what I would call like moralizing art, and this happens at least online. I've seen this happen with just about any circle. If something is unethical or amoral or immoral rather in its construction, people will go out of their way to state that it is like also artistically like unpleasant or aesthetically garbage. Um, because it lacks like a certain je ne sais quoi. Um, the big example of this that I often have run into is like the whole thing of like, oh, Harry Potter was never good, and it's like I don't know, like it was at very least decent, like decent enough to become one of the largest pop culture phenomena of the 21st century. Like that didn't happen by accident. That's not because it's like, you know, some manipulative, like psionic entity that just latches people into it. It's because there were genuinely parts of it that people cared about and liked. The author being a garbage human being doesn't change the fact that the art can still be quality. And I feel like it's the same thing with AI, where it's just like some of the things you make with it can be entertaining. I do think AI generated memes are just kind of worthless because, like, the whole point of like seeing a picture of like Shrek and Mario kissing, the reason that's funny is because someone spent their whole ass day making that. Someone with genuine talent and skill made that with their own hands. That's the funny part. It's the same thing as like it's like the difference between cosplay and like wearing a music store standee as your costume, if that makes sense. Um, like one is flat and effortless and kind of ruins the point of cosplay, whereas the other one is just like actual effort and time. Like at least in the standee example, you could say you're making a joke. Um, and that would admittedly be a very funny joke. I would love to see someone in like a standee costume.
I love those cosplays where they just have to label themselves because they're something so obscure.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen one of those. That's interesting to me.
Like someone tried to dress as Jake from State Farm by listing on their head on their hat that they are Jake from State Farm.
Is this sort of like the Vinny VLC media player situation?
Yeah.
I had that happen to me in real life once. So bit of a fun story here. Um, yeah. So I was at a local store dedicated to like um the ABC, which is the um Australian equivalent to the British BBC network. And this was on the like during like the 50th anniversary week of Doctor Who. And I at the time had a thing for wearing vests. I loved wearing vests. They were just my fashion at the time, and I found them quite pleasant. Anyway, so I go into the ABC shop and they're hosting a trivia event. I love it. And I went in and they're like, "Yo, you're cosplaying Rory Williams." I'm like, "What?" Because it was just so strange to see someone wearing like a vest where I live that they thought I had to be doing like some like budget cosplay
Damn.
of a Doctor Who character. That was like 10 years ago. That was great.
Yeah. Sorry, why'd you ping that?
Oh, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we are.
Um, Sweet. Um, so I got a random thing to bring up, and it might be a little strange. Yeah, get ready. Um, so does anyone else here have a sort of like desk buddy situation where like you have like a certain like object you always keep on your desk when you're working? It's sort of like totem. I do that all the time. Um, where I'll just have like a certain like plushie or like figure that I own just on my desk as a um I'll often use it as like a visual aid to make sure I'm like looking towards my mic so I can speak into it properly. Because I'm very bad at this. Um,
No. I find that is like it gets me distracted. Like even if a little bit of my screen is covered, I just get focused on that part that's covered.
huh. Fair enough. Um, like right now to my left, I have a certain like Gundam kit sitting on like one of my deck boxes. I sent you a picture of it earlier. Um, for those who want to know, it's the high grade UC Zagok Shah Aznable color version. it was like 13 AUD, and I got it in like the worst website I've ever purchased Gunpla from.
God damn.
Uh, okay, no, the worst one's probably the one where they like didn't ship anything for like 3 straight weeks, then said that it somehow was in like a city 2,000 kilometers from my current location and at my door simultaneously. Fucking fourth dimensional package. And then I was like, hey, could you check this out? And then they waited a week and went like, yeah, okay, so we just left it in the truck. Oh. And then like another week later, it finally got to my house and it was all like busted up and bent and shit. I was just wondering like what happened. Someone kicked it up my stairs, I think.
God damn.
So, best and worst sandwich ingredient you've ever tried. You could also substitute a pizza topping.
The best is pepperoni. The worst is top. Can it include condiments?
Yes.
I fucking hate ketchup.
On pizza, on sandwiches, or both, or just as a whole.
That's all.
Fair enough. I I only recently got into ketchup. I need someone to quote me on that eventually. But yeah, so I do understand it is a pretty overrated thing. One thing that I wish I was able to do. Have you ever tasted something and like not really felt it? Like you eat it and you just have like no memory that it was ever in your mouth.
No.
That's how I feel about ranch. I tried ranch once, and I had it on pizza because one of my friends is a big ranch on pizza person, and told me like, no, you gotta try it, you gotta try it, and I'm like, okay. And I tried ranch on pizza, and I for the life of me cannot remember what it tasted like, but I would really like to try it again without having to buy like uh, hang on, let me translate for my American audience. Um, um, uh, no, fluid ounce. That's what we're looking for. Uh, yeah, without having to get like a 6 ounce bottle of it. Um, 6 ounces of ranch. I just said ounces. Jesus. Oof, ouch, owie, my bones. Uh, I'm actually having a lot of fun right now. This is kind of cool. This is like that one episode of like the Krusty Show where he's like doing legitimate political commentary. Uh,
Oh god, I can imagine what his beliefs are.
good old Krusty, good old Krabby Crust.
I really want to play this new game that came out called Peak. Looks fun.
I've actually not heard of it.
It's a mountain climbing game.
Oh, nice.
It has some mechanics where you can like lift people up. They're your friends.
I saw
Oh,
that there's
that's
gonna be
rad.
like a Steam sale like starting tomorrow, and if it's on there, I'm probably gonna get Alien Hominid. Because like I only rented that like once as a kid, and I didn't get very far because I like sucked at it.
Yeah, when it's on sale, it's like literally $2. So I think that's well worth it.
Yeah. If you want, DM, we could like co-op it since it's like a co-op game.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to cut my way through my backlog because I kind of have this problem where I just won't play video games for a solid few months. Um, but I'll still like take people's recommendations. So I've got a whole bunch of games on my PlayStation that I've just not even bothered to play for like 4 straight months.
You should try Lilith's Lair. It's a point and click adventure.
I'll look into it.
Okay.
But like recently, I've been trying to maybe not finish, but at the very least play Returnal because I've heard nothing but good things about Returnal. And yeah, it's really fun, and I'm glad I've actually been playing it. Um, I have a bunch of games that I'm like one like tiny little bit away from like finishing, but I just didn't finish. Um, like I was something like 80% of the way through Bloodborne. Um, I'm like halfway through Demon's Souls. Um, I only have the intergrade like Yuffie chapter of Final Fantasy VII Remake left to go. Um, I gotta restart my run of Cyberpunk 2077 at some point because like that game is really fun. But I just haven't had much of a chance.
Are there Moogles in Cyberpunk 77?
Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a collaboration at one point where if you
I
like
would.
own Final Fantasy 13, you would also get like a Moogle
I'd be
plushie.
very surprised because I don't think those two companies are like involved with each other.
That
I
does
don't
not
think they are
matter.
either, but like
Yeah, you know
collaborations are
why?
always
Because I just
good.
remember that there's like fucking Gordon Freeman DLC in fucking Final Fantasy 15.
I mean, yeah, one of my favorite things. Um, so I basically 100%ed the new game, not new game plus, but like standard new game on FF16, and like, oh boy, that was, ugh. um,
I think at this
that
point,
was an experience.
Are there black mages in FF16?
Um, the band or the class?
The class, and I don't mean like just the. I mean like, do they have the funny big hat and the shadow face?
Unfortunately, no. There's no job system in 16.
Guess I'm
Yeah,
not
sorry,
playing
go
it.
on, DM.
I was saying that at this, it's really strange at this point. There's people that still think that like certain collabs are off limits. Like they just recently did another Marvel and DC thing.
Yeah, they put Hank Hill in Fortnite.
It's like it companies do not have like no, I won't collaborate with these people. They don't. That's not how companies work.
There is one instance where I've heard that happen, and it's that like Sonic the Hedgehog just will not do a collaboration with Sonic the fast food chain.
Yeah. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I genuinely don't know if this is true. This isn't a bit. Didn't Sonic the fast food chain do a collaboration with Neon Genesis Evangelion at some point?
Probably. It wouldn't surprise me. They had a commercial that everyone hated apparently because the blonde guy was dressed like General Custer or whatever.
Uh, I think. I think my favorite thing is just collaborations that absolutely make no sense. Like, why is Call of Duty partnered with Gundam twice?
I don't know why
Like,
is
I
Seth
genuinely
Rogen
don't
and fucking
understand it.
Kevin Smith in their fucking newest game.
But, okay, I'm gonna insult people who play Call of Duty real quick. Because people who play Call of Duty are more likely to recognize Seth Rogen than their own parents. Um,
Thanks.
like you tell me, every single person that owns the most recent Call of Duty has not seen the hit film "This Is the End" with Seth Rogen.
I watched that in theaters. That movie's actually good.
I can't believe you watched that in a theater.
When I was like a teenager, like literally like every single weekend I would go to the movies with my cousin. I've seen so many
Honestly.
fucking terrible pieces of shit in theaters, and I had a blast every single time. The only one I remember
Honestly.
being bored and like leaving early was like fucking I think it was Van Helsing with fucking Hugh Jackman and fucking I think Shark Boy and Lava Girl I left early. I was like, this is fucking boring.
You didn't have 3D
I
glasses.
get you.
Yeah, that was probably it.
Yeah. You know, I have seen This Is the End, which is why I'm so critical of it.
I like that movie though.
And you're allowed to.
No,
I'm just saying it's more likely to be something that people who've played COD have seen than like Gundam Wing.
I like how at the end when they go to heaven they have the Backstreet Boys.
That is admittedly kind of fun. I do like that just a little bit.
I enjoyed. I think. Yeah, I pretty much enjoyed every Call of Duty game I played.
What about Vanguard?
Didn't play it.
What about Call of Duty World War II?
I did play it. It was okay.
Okay. What about Call of Duty Ghosts? Did you play that one?
Yes, it was pretty good. I would say it's up there on one of the better ones.
I don't know. The ending still pisses me off.
I'm talking purely gameplay. It had some fun gimmicks.
What did it have again? I forget. All I remember is that was the one that introduced customizable characters. And then they were like, nah, you know what's better? Operator skins that you can't change or anything of shitty celebrities no one cares about.
I think the main thing is as like a dog, you can like point towards certain things and missions as well as like all those like fancy schmancy grenades.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. I much rather prefer a customizable character than like a big epic fucking skin that's like, dude, you can play as fucking my little soldier.
It just entirely depends on what they're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're not gonna really go with the angle of like having the player character be like a written, like existing like person in the canon, you should be allowed to dress him up like the Fonz or Cookie Monster. I don't give a shit. Um, let me execute like enemies in the Korean War dressed up as Elmo.
But see, the problem is that like they don't put in any like normal like ish skins anymore. They're all goofy fucking like they have multiple weed skins in the newest one, and one of them's like the Weedomancer, and it's like I don't want to look at
It's
that.
basically the same thing as like Magic the Gathering, where it's like,
What I
oh,
wish
you want a
they
certain
had-
aesthetic? Well, too bad.
What I wish they had
know
is
what
that
the
thing
peak
that
is.
the
Yeah.
the Master Chief Collection has, where you have like an option where it's like I don't want the shitty new skins, I want just the default ones, and you can like disable like funny haha skins.
Yeah, one thing.
But they'll
one
never
thing
do that because everyone will throw a shit fit.
One thing I genuinely respected in terms of Call of Duty collaborations was just about everything they did in Ghosts.
All I remember
Let
that
me
was
remember
like
this.
Predator and like I think Michael Myers.
So here's what would happen, right? You would kill an enemy, and occasionally it would drop like a briefcase, and if you picked it up, it would give you a challenge, and if you completed that challenge, it would airdrop in like a kill streak. And if you were on certain maps, that kill streak had the chance to transform you into like a certain like movie monster or something. Um, and it was like really neat and really fun. And generally, I kind of just really I liked Call of Duty Ghosts a lot more than most people did. I think the maps were really good. But it was kind of that's the most recent one I've actually played.
That
Did
is,
you like the commercial?
there needs to be more games like that. I would consider that somewhat of like a Battlefront like.
They need more like co-op modes, and I mean like good ones, not the fucking horrible one they had in like Modern Warfare 2 remake. Or
The original one was really good, where they had some asymmetry going on.
yeah, they should just add more of that. But they're like, no, you have to like decipher like Russian symbols
To do fucking escape room puzzles in Call of
with
Duty.
two people who may or may not even like speak the same language as you. And then you have to go through like an underwater segment where you all share one like air canister. It's like, guess what? 9 out of 10 times you're just gonna stop right there. You're never getting past that part.
Yeah, there's a thing where you shouldn't put too much trust in the player.
Especially if they're a Call of Duty player like me.
Yeah, like like, listen, I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean this to be demeaning or insulting towards COD players. You play COD because it's easy fun, and I can respect that. No one's going into that thinking like, I want a real like cerebral story that's gonna like change my values and like make me reconsider the kind of person I am. Like, bro, you're here to like play a like fun war simulator that's like technically very impressive. You just have fun with it.
I also have God, I have no interest in Splitgate. I tried it a bit.
I
Me
played the
neither.
first one a couple times.
That game's just not fun.
It's one of those issues where it relies on multiple things where I can't focus on both those things. Because in order to get really good at it, you need to be really good at shooty and portals.
Hmm.
I wish there was like
I
one thing I really wish that there was. This may exist. I just may have never saw it in my entire freaking life. Was like high level
Yeah.
shows where they make custom like video games for those shows specifically. I think that would be neat. Like as like as just making like maybe a double A studio makes games specifically for the entertainment of like the viewers.
hmm.
Like tailor-made stuff.
I do vibe with that a lot.
One thing I thought about is like, what if it was like a Battlefront situation, but only like the streamers themselves have the hero characters, where everyone else, the grunts, are like just a shit ton of viewers. And it's a fucking Twitch battle.
Twitch battle is kind of funny.
I wouldn't be a fan of that. I'd be like, why do they get the cool version and I get the shit version?
You're a
Star Wars
viewer.
Battlefront 2, but it's rigged.
Yeah, exactly. If it
That
was
would
not
actually be
rigged,
kind
then
of
I wouldn't
amazing.
care.
Like, imagine you're playing as like you and like 30 mates are all playing as like fucking battle droids trying to stop Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you know you're doomed, but hey, at least one of you might be able to take his arm off.
Yeah, it's cool.
That happened to me and DM when we were playing the beta for like Battlefront 1 on the PS4. We were on like Hoth, and like Darth Vader just appeared and murdered us.
I misheard you for a moment. I had a bit of a brain fart, and I'm like, wow, Battlefield 1 sounds like an intense game.
I might have said Battlefield, I'm not sure.
I mean, you got really confused. I said once, like, I wish there was a Warhammer Battlefront. And you're like, oh yeah, there is, and you showed something that's like not that in the slightest. Because I said a Battlefield.
Yeah. Fucking Eternal Crusade is still dead.
Good.
Actually, I think they might have turned off the servers also, so it's like more than dead.
It deserves to be dead because of your confusion.
Yeah. It also deserves to be dead because it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that people really like Warhammer video games. They're like, you know what? I really like the aesthetic, but playing with figurines, that's fucking stupid.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, like to be fair, like I understand it because like those minis are tiny, very 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 expensive, and like you gotta paint all of them.
But just imagine a Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah,
Imagine that with Yu-Gi-Oh! Though, where there's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game where you
You
just
have
was a
to draw
fucking.
the cards.
There's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Game that was a shooter, like a third-person shooter. That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. I'd play that.
Yeah.
You can play
I mean, there was one example of that, which like in one of the Shonen Jump games, he plays Yugi.
You could play as like Dark Magician Girl or like Cyber Commando or Mag.
I think you guys are just really into the concept of like Deckmaster, Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't know what that is. Is that the
Okay,
thing you put on your
Deckmaster-
arm?
No, that's a dual disc. But no, so Deckmaster is effectively it's a form of Yu-Gi-Oh where you have um like one card that acts as your deck master that gives you a certain ability that can be activated either once per turn or once every couple turns. And if you summon that monster and it gets destroyed, you just lose. Um, it's so I think you guys like that because it's basically Yu-Gi-Oh, but also you have like a commander for your deck. Again, it's very similar to Magic's commander system. Um,
I want a Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's like that chess game that came out where it's like a checkmate showdown, where every time there's a battle between pieces, it goes into an actual fighting game.
They should make a Yu-Gi-Oh game
I
that's like a
oh,
shooter, but you're playing as those guys who point their fingers.
the invisible guns, dude. I
Yeah.
can't. I need to tell you this. There's a guy in GX whose dual disc turns into a gun that shoots cards that explode on impact, and
So he's
his
Gambit.
name, yeah, he's Gambit, and his name in the English version is Axel Brody.
It's pretty cool.
I'll see if I've got a GIF of him.
Is he the guy
Um,
who has the big America bandana, or is that a different guy?
no, the big America bandana is Bandit Keith.
Isn't that from like original? They said GX.
I wasn't paying
Yes,
attention.
that is from original.
Which one is the one that has the girl with the blue hair and the red
Ah,
coat?
blue hair, red coat. Hang on. I'm trying to. Let me. This one.
I actually don't know.
Are you
I
saying
don't even
random
know who I'm
things?
asking about. No, I know there's a character. Like, look,
This
I'm not a big Yu-Gi-Oh head. What can I say?
this is devolving rapidly.
Yeah, like
But
my
no,
pacemaker.
I do like the concept of the Yu-Gi-Oh third-person shooter. Um, especially because like there are genuine archetypes all about characters with just guns.
They're called the good
Hell, there's
archetypes.
yeah, I mean, there are archetypes about everything. I mean, one of the card families is called Ships, and they're sushi battleships.
And what if
That's
they
not even a joke.
and what if they released a trailer for a new Yu-Gi-Oh game and like this is one of the screenshots for it? I'd be like, damn, this is fucking cool.
Oh yes,
Do
that
you
does
like
look cool.
that he's live streaming himself from Jam Construct?
Yeah. Um.
Also, this is a cool one too. This shows like a grungy aesthetic. We should probably stop doing visual bits on this thing that's only audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. I realized that about 3 images ago. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, the audience is blind.
What's your thoughts on what uh fuck? Who's that blind black guy who's like a musician?
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, what's your
Stevie
opinions on
Wonder.
him?
I've never listened to any of his music. I think it was just before my time.
What about his
Don't say it.
and have you seen Stevie Wonder's house?
I have not.
Neither is he.
Why? Why do you ask?
Because neither is he.
Oh,
Sorry.
I. Yeah.
You get it? Because he's blind!
How did I walk into that? That's awful.
You've never heard that joke before?
No.
My mom has told me that joke like fucking 200 times. It never gets old.
I think the funniest thing is that like I literally had like 7 different joke books growing up. that I just like read back to front like constantly, like over and over and over again. And the fact that I've never heard that genuinely kind of stunned me.
That's probably because Australians don't know who Stevie Wonder is.
Stevie
They're like,
Wonder based humor.
oh, mate, why is he fucking here? Yakadaka, mate. Fucking, Darren, fucking. They don't know anything there if it's not either Akadaka or Damo and Darren.
And the footy. Don't
Oh
forget
yeah,
the footy.
but the footy's not a person though. Not
The
yet,
footy
Place.
is a
anyway.
collective of multiple people.
Yeah,
It's a
but
state of mind.
but no one, they don't tie each other together like that one Clive Barker novel, so no one knows what it is.
They just like they form like a Megazord that just looks like a big foot.
Yeah, that's basically what happens in that book.
Like each team is just a separate giant foot amalgam entity.
Yeah, it's like on Family Guy when Joe like forms Crippletron to defeat Peter. Man, I miss when Family Guy was like more like now they don't care, and that's funny in its own way. But before they were like fucking creative with their stupidity, which was also funny, but in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is really funny how
Nowadays, no one
some.
could think of the Peter Copter or Jemima's Witnesses.
It is funny how some people like just have like weird tinted glasses about characters. Because it was like, oh, Mr. Krabs, now he just only cares about money. He sold SpongeBob's soul for 62 cents. Oh, but he regretted it.
Yeah, because it lost him money.
I miss when he used to take the big pill.
I like how that sentence implies that this was a frequent occurrence and not a one-off bit.
Well, it seemed like he was taking them constantly in the scene because his daughter Pearl was like, "It's time for the pill," and he's like, "Barnacles, I hate the
It's a
pill."
metaphor because it's a hard pill to swallow.
I think they played a clip of that, like the beginning of that episode when Vinny from Vinesauce turned 40. It was just the part of him like opening his fucking crusty ass eyes, and the radio's like, "You're so old."
And how random young people just spawn to let you cross the street.
Isn't that the one where he did the panty raid?
Yes.
I've always liked the the linguistics of like someone spawning in, and I love applying it to real life. Like that time that I almost got hit by a garbage truck because it spawned directly behind me.
That does basically just happen sometimes.
Because
It legitimately kind of does.
it happens a lot of times because people park in illegal spots where it blocks your view.
Hmm. That's how they got JFK because like what's his face just spawned into that book depository. Depository.
A library?
It was the book depository. That's what they always call it.
I see.
I was there. I've been there in real life. I've seen it.
Okay.
So speaking of, oh god, what was I thinking? So random pivot to something completely unrelated. You know that whole thing, like speaking of things that like Vinny's talked about, the like whole fucked up pizza phenomenon.
No, like pineapple.
Yeah, just like people like screwing up pizza. Well,
Yeah.
over here they recently reintroduced the meat pie crust pizza, and I kind of want to get one and get like a picture of it.
Is that
And,
like stuffed crust?
Photoshop. Kind of. Let me get a picture.
Because over here we stuff the crust with cheese, so we can't really like. That's not that bad.
Yeah. So, because a lot of Americans have been very critical of the Australian meat pie as a concept. Um, but yeah, it is effectively just a pizza, but like at the ends of the crust they have like little what we call party pies, which are like very small meat pies. Yeah, like that's a wild situation to be in. I've considered ordering one simply because I kind of want to.
And I'm gonna be honest, that looks putrid.
We got an
It
alien.
kind of doesn't look good, yeah. It kind of does.
That looks like someone turned a pizza inside out somehow.
How do I cop?
And what's your opinion on the Zapruder film?
What the hell? What?
The Zapruder film. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it was like shot good?
What film?
The Zapruder film. That was when there was this guy Zapruder who was like filming, like he was like in the crowd filming JFK while he was like in Texas doing the parade or whatever, and he like got on camera like the footage of JFK dying.
Oh. Huh.
I think nothing of this.
Yeah, I think nothing of this either. I'll
I
be
think
real
it's
with you.
pretty messed up. I guess you guys just fucking hate the president.
Hey, quite literally not my
Sorry.
president, dude.
Well, he was part Irish, like you. You're Irish, right?
I'm part Scottish.
That's basically the same fucking thing.
But God. I don't even know what to say to that, honestly.
You say, oh, you know, meat potato.
You say this. Hello, it's me, Mieshko.
Did you get flipped through a ceiling fan?
Yeah,
No, I got flicked through like a wind tunnel.
got flinted through a steel.
They threw me into that big fanboy like in Mortal Kombat 4.
And you deserved every second of it.
They threw me into the Hoover Dam, said help.
Yeah, they threw me into the Hoover Dam, and then Butthead was reading the master control switch, and he misread it as masturbation.
Tell me a non-evil joke right now.
I think you and I both know I'm incapable of that. Not that I don't want to, I just don't have it in me.
I see.
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
To get the other side.
I feel like you were like shedding tears while saying that joke.
I was, because I was trying really hard not to say a very different punchline.
I see.
And how many... No, wait, that's not a joke, never mind. I got a tongue twister messed up with a joke.
Damn.
Just trying to think about some stuff. Good lord,
Good lord, what's happening in there?
Aurora Borealis. We're not doing the whole bit. We're not?
I'm rapidly aging from outdated memes.
Outdated means?
Memes.
No, you pronounced it wrong. You're outdated now.
And
Up to date people pronounce things correctly.
pulls out my mouse that I use for my Switch 2.
I'm never gonna get the Switch 2.
Just because you can't meet Paul Rudd on it.
No, because I don't care for Nintendo games because I am not a baby.
But what about the new Metroid though?
And
What if Samuel had a rhythm like a rhythm game mechanic?
what if? Good point.
Yeah. What if? Would you
Well,
like
if that happened, I would not play it.
But what if they also added a secret cheat code where you press it and Samuel will go into Valheim?
I would think there would be lawsuits about.
What if there's a part where you press the button and she helps you render in Blender? She gives you like tips and tricks like on cheats on
I just
GeForce
go to fucking
TV.
Blender Guru. I don't buy an $80 game to get tips on Blender.
No! What would they have to add to make you buy Samuel's big new quest on Nintendo Switch 2?
Gameplay, which they won't.
They did that!
Nope.
No!
The favorite thing about playing Metroid is going back.
My favorite part is when she laid down the big power bomb and she blow up the Metroid and the space pirate and the Ridley. And then she fights the Samus Aran X.
Okay, let's talk about something really cool. What's some games you guys are looking forward to?
The fucking Alien Hominid.
I'll be real. I'm not really looking forward to anything in terms of games right now. There's just nothing that's like. There's nothing that's exciting me. And that is largely just because I have a huge backlog and I'm just not really interested in any of the announcements as of late. So it's
Yeah.
mostly just been going through backlog, honestly.
I guess really the only thing
Nothing-
I'm looking forward to is like Resident Evil 9. That's about it. I like Resident Evil. I like the part where Leon he throw egg. Oh, no, he don't throw egg. That's Chris who throw egg. He throw flash grenade.
It's really funny that I don't know. I think it's kind of like transparent what they're doing with a lot of games where it's like, oh, what if the next Indiana Jones thing was a game? The next James Bond thing was a game. It's sort of like making a sequel to a movie but making it a game.
Yeah.
Like it's not even a way to make it like it's a way to breathe new life into a franchise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
It's-
breathing life into a corpse, not like an old dying person.
What do you mean? The last Indiana Jones did great.
The one that I didn't watch.
The one that nobody watched, yeah.
Yeah. The one where apparently he goes back to like ancient Rome.
I do wish they kept the original ending from what I heard where she just takes all of his accomplishments.
That would be really funny. That would make like the parts where she goes to the Middle East like borderline nonsensical. Because, like, how does she get anything done when she has to wear like the robes and stuff?
She alters the timeline where it makes more sense. Just so she can go on
That
Indiana Jones adventures.
that would require making the world borderline unrecognizable.
It's good for Indiana Jones adventures. Worth it.
I don't think that's worth it. I think you would
Mieshko,
cause more
are the-
problems than you'd solve.
Why are the spirits of hell like screaming through your microphone?
I told you I got thrown into the wind tunnel. How many times do I have to explain that?
Okay, stop.
What's the magic word?
Gathering.
Oh, okay.
Like, I can't even be mad. That was really well executed.
Yeah, it was literally just me putting my microphone in front of the air conditioner.
Me when I see the president of Japan get it. Never mind.
I mean, we already made Zapruder jokes.
Uh,
I was watching
They're
more.
jokes,
I was
rather.
watching more Matan clips. It's a really good one. Where during the interview, a guy was vacuuming, and then he just pulled out a fucking second vacuum. Like, really, a second vacuum? Are you insane?
Oh, I like the part where he asked about the eyes and the noses.
And Andy Dick was very articulate.
And what would you do if a Dark Souls like dark spirit invaded your apartment?
oh,
And what if they had
I'd
the
be-
Thorn armor on?
which? Okay, so it's full on.
I don't know. No, like
Oh,
the
bro, I'm-
armor that like when it rolls into
Yeah.
you take damage, like the spiky armor.
Oh, kick spam. I have a staircase, so I can just make them die from fall damage.
What if they have the cat foot ring?
I kick them down the stairs more.
What if they have more poise?
That won't change anything.
Does poise not get like affected by kicking?
No. So kicking kind of just invalidates poise because it's a harder move to pull off and has a much slower animation than other things. I think if you have like high enough stamina and you're like blocking with a shield, you can stop it. But I generally think that you can kind of.
What if he
Just-
has like that ring that like makes you do like backflips?
Well, I'd still kick it down the stairs until it dies from fall damage.
But what if he backflips away from the kick?
Then he falls down the stairs anyway.
But what if he lands perfectly?
Well, then I suppose we're locked in battle for eternity.
Okay, but what if this shakes things up? A man comes through the ceiling of your house and he drops down 3 hand grenades. And he also may or may not be me. What do you do then?
I position it so that the invader is underneath the grenades, or at least is in the proximity of them when they go off, by
Okay.
attempting to roll bait him.
Well, you win
So
then. You get
The man that may or may not be you.
you get
ends
whatever
up
you
killing
get
the invader
for
me.
invading banishing an invader. I forget.
Oh, yo, a whole bunch of souls and exactly one humanity. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of
Okay.
clout.
Trivia!
DM, what's the next topic before we get trapped into the Dark Souls hole?
Fucking. What should be
Peter,
the next video game?
who should be at the
What?
next video game?
What should be the next video game?
You have to give me more than that. What? The
Like
next
game
game-
concept that would be good.
Oh, real-time first-person
I-
shooter.
I'd like to see a couple more like HD 2D like pixel remasters of like different games that aren't just like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest.
I want because I started watching Oni play like Graffiti Kingdom. I want someone to make a game like that, but like new and like with more drawing options. That looks like that would be really fun, especially when they said like imagine if it had like Steam Workshop support. Because that game is really cool. The idea of just drawing your character. Like the only other thing that kind of does that is Drawn to Life, and that's like 2D.
I think there should be
Yeah.
a game that's like a prop comedy sandbox.
So Gmod?
No.
Well, I don't get what you mean then. Like I know fucking Carrot Top is prop comedy, but like how do you make that into a game?
Like just a sandbox where you could
So
Bas-
like Gary's mod, you said no, but then you say like it's like a sandbox.
I mean Gary's mod has like a lot of like outdated jank in it, I'll be honest. That's the main thing.
Okay, so like a new Gary's
Oh, yeah.
mod,
Yeah. Like maybe with
a sandbox.
a fixed camera and a bunch of animations you can go through.
Oh, okay. Oh, so like better like recording like tools.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense now.
Like maybe like a
But
fucking
that's not really like a game at that point. That's more like just a software.
okay, when it comes to games, I guess I'd like just more games where just more Battlefront things with different franchises.
Yeah. Make a Battlefront.
Oh, here's an idea. Like just sort of like Xenoverse 2, but like not genre specific, so where you can like build your own move sets and all that.
Okay. Can one of the movesets
I
be
like
you
that
just use a
concept.
bunch of guns?
Yes.
Okay, then I would definitely try that out.
I
That's
I
basically
think
like
again,
Roblox,
this
like
is
anime adventure or whatever, but like cool
Mhm.
because you're not
I
playing as
would
a Roblox
say
character.
this is my. I'm gonna be real with you. This is my like ultimate crack game that I've always wanted. A like alternate universe Gundam game with Armored Core mechanics. And I know a lot of people will say like Gundam Breaker. No, that's just a bit too arcadey for my personal tastes. Like give me something that is like I don't know, fucking you can even do like the Xenoverse thing with it if you want. Just like have every universe crashing into each other. Or even just give us Armored Core 7, I'll take that.
Make sure they add in like the 50-foot tall Hello Kitty, like from that one OVA.
They need to add 50-foot tall Hello Kitty.
Oh yeah, I remember a
Doesn't it have
while.
like a beam that turns a Zaku into like a Chibi Zaku?
I don't remember. I'd have to
I
watch
saw a
the
clip
OVA.
of her doing that, and Char was like, "What the fuck is wrong with this weird fucking giant monster?"
Another thing I thought about was like a road trip game where it basically
Or not Char. Who's the guy that's the main character in Gundam? The good guy, not the blonde guy.
Amuro.
Yeah, Amuro is like, "What the fuck is wrong with this big fucking cat monster thing?"
but yeah, I was thinking like a road trip game where like it connects a bunch of community maps together. So it'd be like a community made road that loads into a community made location.
That would be really nice. You could sort of, maybe you could have little lobbies in there, so like you can run across a diner and either have like a programmed NPC or like some dude role playing as like a waiter.
Yeah.
They should make a game that's like Devil May Cry, but you play as like Kamen Rider.
I remember they did make
Um,
a Common Rider game, but it looked bad.
Yeah, most of the Kamen Rider games are just like either like a fighting game or like uh, Dynasty Warriors. I saw like a tweet from some Japanese guy who was like, I was driving to my father's funeral and suddenly Kamen Rider appeared, and behind him was fucking Kamen Rider Kuga riding with like the fucking Go Ranger or whatever his bike is called.
Hmm.
And I think some guy responded with like, "Is was your father a Grongi?" So fucking silly.
Hmm. Yeah, fucking. I need to watch more of that Gundam stuff. Apparently, the new manga Gundam 8 came out like today, and the annoying part is they don't really tell you much of the premise at all in the preview. It's just like, oh yeah, there's 236 humans left. It's the year 2030, and there is one Gundam. And it's like,
Does
okay,
it
so I assume all the other information is like important and revealed in the plot later.
does it have
Um,
the lesbian witch, or is that in a different timeline?
it's a different timeline.
Oh, okay. Does it have those
The
dang old orphans with that dang old iron blood?
and no, this is a completely separate timeline from every existing one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the lesbian witch timeline is called Ad Stella, by the way.
What's the one with those dang old the orphans with that dang old iron blood?
I think it's like called Post Calamity. I'm not 100% sure.
Post Calamity Ganon?
Yes.
That'd be cool if a Gundam fought fucking Ganondorf.
I feel like your operating system is just a word game, word
No,
association
but that
game.
no fucking they had like big robot things fighting him in the fucking second to last Zelda game. They had the Divine
Sorry,
Beast or whatever the fuck. It makes
the
sense.
post. It's called the post disaster timeline.
That's a good name for a fucking timeline. It's like what happened? A fucking disaster happened. That's like how Kiryu is like, or not Kiryu. I'm fucking stupid. Kenshiro is like the savior of the Century's End.
Yeah.
And then his brother is like the emperor of the Century's End. I like in fucking Fist of the North Star how like it's Rao's destiny to like save China from like the evil Fist of the North Star, but then Kenshiro just fucking kills him. So now like he has to take on the destiny, and everyone's like, "Well, it's not gonna fucking happen now because you weren't the one destined to fucking save China." And he's like, "No, I'll do it though," and then he fucking does it.
Pretty cool.
I think he goes to. I don't know. He goes like across the sea to like some other land, and I think it's supposed to be like China. It could just be like a different part of Japan, I guess.
I mean, potentially.
There was that part where he fucking died, and his like body like his fucking heart stopped beating, and like I think he just wasn't alive anymore. So the guy who has like the anti Fist of North Star that like makes you implode, he was like carrying him around the desert in like a fucking coffin. And then the fucking the Kaio appeared. He's like, oh, "I'm gonna fucking destroy Kenshiro's body," and then Kenshiro's body just summoned a fucking ghost of Kenshiro that like fought off Kaio. It's fucking
Uh,
cool. What I'm trying to say, and is you should fucking watch Fist of the North Star if you haven't. It's really good.
The move I only watched the first like movie and it's like a
The
mess.
movie is good, but it's also like a nightmare. Like it moves around like events happening. Like he fucking meets Ray before fighting Shin. Like that he doesn't meet Ray until after he fucking kills or after he gets Shin to become dead. Because he gets like the hit on him to like to make him like die from the explosion, and Shin is like, "No, you're not killing me. I am," and he fucking jumps off the building.
Oh.
You could get dead or dying.
Yeah. And then fucking he was like, "Why?" Like Bad is like, "Why are you burying this piece of shit?" He's like, "Because we both love the same woman." And James is like, "That's some cuck shit."
Also, randomly, do you ever want to buy a game, but like you already own it on another platform, so
Yeah.
you can't?
No, I've
That's
done
where I
that
am
before.
right now. Because like
I have
I want to
fucking-
buy. Yeah.
I played GTA 5 on the PS3, and then I was like, I want to play that again, but good, so I got it on the PC.
I want to play Near Replicant again, but I want to be able to stream it to people I like.
Also, I think I
Um,
also had it on the PS4, so I'm like a mega pay pig for fucking Rockstar. So what were you saying about Nier?
Basically, I want to get Near Replicant, but I already own it on Xbox, so it feels like a waste to spend like 35 AUD to get it on PC.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Have you
because
tried?
it is on sale at the moment. I'm just kind of going like, yeah, nah, because that's a good amount of money for a good amount of like meals that I could be spending it on instead.
Yeah, I feel like eating food's probably more important than replaying a game.
Exactly, especially when I could replay the game under a different context as well.
Yeah. Remember when Kenshiro like fought that tank that was like the size of like a two-story or like a two-floor house, and he just kicked it and it fucking exploded?
No.
That happened. It's fucking stupid because like when he punches people and they explode, it makes sense because like he's pushing on their pressure points. But here it's just like what he pushed on the fucking tank's pressure points. He just knows the pressure points on a fucking giant super tank. That's cool.
He guessed.
You get yeah, I guess, but it's quite a guess on like this fucking metal slug boss.
It's cool.
It's a fucking absurdly big fucking tank.
Oh. I think this has been a
Also, I
good.
think he punches through like the visor and like hits the pilot inside of the fucking thing.
Yeah, I think this has been a good
That's fucking cool.
discussion.
Yeah.
It has been. I've had fun.
Yeah.
You want to call it here for now?
Yeah. See you later, audiences.
Good
See ya.
night. Drink your milk and